Hey guys, welcome to another Thursday edition of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. My name is Nick, and of course it's a Thursday, so it's another solo edition of the Vinyl Den. Ian's gonna be back this weekend. He's gonna join me where we're gonna talk about some bands and musicians that we really feel should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So come check out the show. It'll be up at noon on Sunday. Should be a good time. So originally I had this whole idea planned out for the show, and I was really excited to do it last week. And then Ian, like at the last minute, slipped a video into me and said, "Here, let's pop this out for the Thursday show." So I kind of pushed my idea back for a week, and I had it all planned out. I got like a half a crate of albums here I was going to kind of go through and talk about. But then I was at the record store earlier today and kind of stumbled across some things that, I hadn't really seen before, and I didn't even really know some of them even existed. So I'm going to kind of talk about some of the stuff I kind of found in the last couple of weeks. 4 albums included in this are going to be 4 bootleg Pink Floyd albums, which like I said, I didn't know existed. Some of it's pretty cool, so before we get into the Pink Floyd stuff, though, I was going to kind of go through some of the other stuff, because some of the stuff I picked up just kind of for nostalgia purposes. Definitely the first one. I remember my brother had this on CD, I think it was. It was one of the first CDs he owned. And it's Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em. MC Hammer. This has got You Can't Touch Us on that. So it was a big hit in, what year was this? 80... Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was 1990 when this came out. So this is probably one of the first CDs he owned. Of course, I didn't have any CDs until I was late to the game. I was still listening to the vinyl and cassettes through most of the 90s. It was probably like 97, 98 the first time I even bought a CD. But I remember my brother got this for Christmas. So I don't remember if it was Christmas in 90, Christmas in 91, but needless to say, it probably didn't get played a whole lot. I just remember him opening it up, and so I saw that it was like $10 at the record store. I was like, I gotta have it, The next one, it's kind of along the same lines. Some good old 80s hair metal. It's some White Snake, which of course I think the only song I know off of this is Here I Go Again. Which if you're not as old as me, or at least in your mid 30s or older, you probably don't remember the video, but if you haven't seen it, check it out I'm sure it's on YouTube or somewhere online. Check out the video for Here I Go Again. It's a very interesting video, very seductive. I was trying to look to see what year this was that came out, but it was, I want to say like 87, 88 when this album came out. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I've heard anything else off here, but I'm going to check it out. Like I said, just for nostalgia purposes, I picked it up. The next one, it's if you haven't noticed the theme, it's like 80s music here, at least in the beginning here. R.E.M. Green, this is actually a really good album. Probably most people know this for the song Stand, which was a pretty big hit in the 80s when it came out. This is 88 when this came out, I think. 87, 88. So it was right around the same time as I think Appetite for Destruction, everything kind of came out around the same time. So I think Green, it's a really good album. I think it kind of got lost in the shuffle with some of the other stuff in the late 80s. At least I think that's the end of my 80s albums, though, I think. I guess it's not. The next one I'll pull out, I was going to do this a little out of order, but License to Ill by Beastie Boys was an album that I have loved my entire life. I was probably 6, 7 years old when this thing came out. And I remember it was just massive. I remember all my friends listened to it. It was all over the radio, all over MTV. So, and it's an album that I wanted to pick up for a long time. And for one reason or another, every time I've seen it, for some reason I always put it back. But I ended up getting this for a great deal. So it was definitely worth picking up. I actually saw Beastie Boys, I want to say it was like 1999. I'm sure it had to been 99. But it was I saw him at Palace of Auburn Hills in Michigan here. And it was just a fantastic show. It was probably one of the better shows I think I've seen concert-wise. It was just all around just a solid show, spanning their entire career. But obviously with the death of one of the members, it's obviously, you're never going to see them again. So it was kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. I'm glad and it was like a last second thing too. I wasn't going to go, and I think it was the day before I decided, I'll just go. Tickets weren't I want to say tickets were like $35-$40, so it wasn't too bad. Now, another one I grabbed was Urban Hymns by The Verve, which I think is a really underrated album. Everyone knows this for Bittersweet Symphony, which is a really good song, but it's nowhere near being the best song on this album. This is early 2000s, I want to say, when this came out. But, all around solid album. Another one I got for a really good deal. I want to say it was like $18 I paid for it. But, definitely one that I'll definitely spin this a lot. I haven't listened to it yet, and it's on green vinyl, which actually has a pretty nice color to it. See if you can see it really good here in the camera. But, it's pretty sweet. Nice, like, translucent. The camera doesn't pick it up, but it's actually translucent. You can see through it, but pretty sweet. The next one I was going to talk about was one that I had originally planned on talking about 2 weeks ago when I did my last solo Thursday episode. And that is one that I had pre-ordered, and I was hoping it was going to be here on time, but it wasn't yet. And it's Turn the Radio Off by Real Big Fish. This is an album that I said, if you haven't checked out that episode, go back, check it out from two Thursdays ago. But this is probably my favorite ska album from the 90s. It's just an absolute fantastic album, and it's one that I've wanted really since I got back into collecting vinyl. And every time I've gone to look at one online, and it's normally between $150 and $200 on Discogs, so it's a little bit more than I really wanted to pay for it. I was hoping eventually I'd find one for a really good deal. Real Big Fish ended up reissuing this just this month, and for those $150 to $200 copies, it's normally it was like a 2012 reissue, so it wasn't even like an original pressing. So that's why I was like really leery about doing that. But this is kind of along the same lines as the Verve album. It's on a green vinyl, pretty sweet looking. Sounds fantastic. I've already listened to it a couple of times, and I was really the packaging's pretty sweet. Comes with some stickers. Comes with a little poster on the inside. Nothing really great, but I just really love finally having this album. So I got two more albums before I get to the Pink Floyd bootleg stuff. The next one, it's one that I really feel it's kind of an underrated album for the early 90s. Came out in 1992. I didn't really think about it until just recently. Ian actually picked it up on vinyl, and really until then I kind of forgot about the album, really. It's Automatic for the People by R.E.M. Probably everyone knows this album for Everybody Hurts. What else was big off of here? Man on the Moon was another great big hit off this album. Just a really kind of underrated album for the time period. 1992, we were starting to get into the grunge stuff. So I think the harder rock and really the kind of like hair rock from the 80s, the REMs of the world, some of the other like I don't really want to say softer rock, but the more like traditional rock bands of the 80s, I think, were really starting to get overshadowed by some of the stuff that was starting to come up through the music scene. But definitely a great album, and really another one I'm really happy to add to the collection. This next one, this is a new album. This is Gigaton by Pearl Jam. I was actually really surprised at how good this album is. I feel like a lot of Pearl Jam stuff in the last 10 years or so has really been, I don't want to say subpar, because they are good albums. They're just, I don't think, lived up to the standards that I think Pearl Jam set for themselves through the 90s with some of the albums that they were putting out, and even like early 2000s. Some of those albums are really good, but I think Gigaton is a kind of return to that sound that they did that they had before. Maybe not necessarily like with Verses or 10 or anything or Vitology, but it's definitely a different kind of album. But it's still it's I think it's definitely better than some of the stuff they put out, and it's one that I got this for a smoking deal. I want to pay, because typically the record store I go to, this is normally like $42-$43 plus tax. I want to say I got this for $20 or $22. So I couldn't pass it up. It was a really good deal, but one that's I've really wanted to get this since it came out, but just even though it's a really good album, I kind of had a hard time coming off of $45 for it. But so I got this used. Like I said, it's one that I'm really glad to have, and I've already listened to it a couple of times. It sounds fantastic. All right, so now for the Pink Floyd stuff. So if you guys don't know, if you guys haven't checked out my Pink Floyd episode, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. I wasn't really a huge fan growing up. I was kind of I like The Wall, I like Dark Side of the Moon, but it was kind of it. And it was really within the last couple of years I started getting into more and more of their catalog, and now I'm starting to get into more of the bootleg stuff. Now, so I got 4 bootleg albums. Granted, I haven't heard any of these before, so I'm really kind of interested and excited to listen to some of this. The first one here is this is Pink Floyd live in New York, well, NYC, New York City, 1977. And all 4 of these have really kind of cool looking covers. I'll try to get a good shot of this if you can see it there. So it's 1977, so definitely has the Animals, Battersea Power Station kind of feel to it, to the album cover. It has, it's got songs off of Animals, and actually, no, I'm wrong. This is just Shine On You Crazy Diamonds, Welcome to the Machine, Have a Cigar, Wish You Were Here, and the second half of Shine On You Crazy Diamonds. So this is all stuff off of Wish You Were Here. So that's actually kind of cool, because looking at the cover of it, in 1977, I would think it was more like Animals kind of stuff, but it's definitely not. So, yeah, I'm really kind of excited to listen to that. I love Pink Floyd live. I've got a lot of the albums, the live stuff that Roger Waters has released. I've got the Wall CD box set from the last concert was in 1980 for the Wall tour. So yeah, definitely some they've got some really good live stuff out there for sure. Next one's kind of interesting. This is one that I've seen online, but I haven't seen in person. And the one I've seen online is not this copy of this is Dark Side of the Moon live. This is from Wembley in November of 1974. Wembley Empire Pool. So the one I've seen is actually got like a purple cover to it. I've never seen, this is the blue cover. So that was kind of interesting that I haven't, it's Dark Side of the Moon's my favorite album of all time. So definitely get one. This is getting a live copy of it. They also have Echoes on here and some other stuff. Actually, no, I'm wrong. It's just Dark Side of the Moon, and then side D is Echoes. So that's kind of cool. I definitely interested to throw this on and give this a listen to. So before I get to the last couple of ones, I did want to kind of go back to this live in New York City, 1977, because I did forget to show you what color it is. It's when I put this on Discogs, I did notice that there's several different colors of it. So, and some of them are translucent, some of them are solid. This is a solid pink, kind of marbled one, if you can see it there. And the interesting thing about this is the ones I've seen online have a label. I mean, obviously this is just a plain label, where the ones online have like a Pink Floyd kind of label on there. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if this is where this is bootlegged from, but it's interesting to have that just kind of plain generic label on there. So this next one's another live concert. This is from 1972, I think. Yeah, this is live at Osaka Festival Hall in Osaka, Japan. So it's got a really cool looking, like the very first thing that caught my eye was this album cover. It looks pretty sweet, if you can see it there. Really cool looking. They got a nice back cover. It's got some of the tracks are all written in Japanese also underneath the English titles. So it's kind of cool. And then this is on green vinyl. Just a solid green, really cool looking label there. Definitely got to clean it. It's got a this stuff all comes in these paper sleeves, so it definitely need to be cleaned before I listen to them. But it's got Breathe, On the Run, Time, the Mortality Sequence, Brain Damage. So it's got a lot of stuff off of Dark Side of the Moon on here, and it's also got One of These Days, which is one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs. So that's kind of cool. Definitely cool. Interested to see how this sounds, because like I said, I haven't checked out any of these bootlegs yet. I don't think I have. I've got a couple of like Logic bootlegs and some other bootlegs, but I don't have anything Pink Floyd wise. So I'm interested to see how these sound. Especially since these are recordings from the 70s. So hopefully it's got good sound quality to it. So this last one's kind of interesting. It's another one that I haven't seen. It's called Secret Times, and this is from the 1970 Zabriskie Point soundtrack sessions that they were working on. Now they were working on Zabriskie Point just prior to working on Atom Heart Mother in 1970. So I've never heard any of these tracks on here. I know a couple of them were, I think a couple of tracks off of side B were released on the early years box set that came out a couple years back. I've got the later years box set. I don't have the early years though. Because they kind of, you could buy them individually. So I bought a couple of the individual ones I was kind of looking for, but I haven't bought the entire box set. And now it's kind of a little pricey. I probably never will, but so I'm kind of interested to see. This is a really interesting period for Pink Floyd. I think where they really started kind of finding their sound, and they started moving away from some of the psychedelic stuff that they were doing in the late 60s. And really through Atom Heart Mother and their Metal and Obscured by Clouds, they really kind of found their sound. They really kind of, you could hear through those albums a building to what they were going to do with Dark Side of the Moon and the rest of the albums they released after that in the 70s. So I'm really kind of interested to see how this sounds and check this out, but definitely excited to have this. So that's all I got this week, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Hope you enjoyed me flipping through some of the stuff I recently picked up. It's going to the record stores. I've missed it during the whole pandemic and everything being closed the early part of this year. So it's definitely nice to go back, and I try as much as possible to go out and support my local record stores, and and I encourage you to do the same thing. I know it's really easy to buy things off of Discogs, to buy things off of eBay, off of Amazon, but go out there and support those brick and mortar stores, because without their support, they won't be there for us, and it's that'd be a damn shame to lose lose that kind of piece of music. So definitely go out there and check them out, and support your local stores. But that's all I got. Come back and check out the show on Thursday. I'm sorry, it is Thursday. Come back and check out the show on Sunday with me and Ian. And if you enjoyed the show, go ahead and hit the like button down below. Hit the thumbs up to subscribe, and wherever that bell is on the screen, go ahead and hit that to get notifications when episodes are released. But that's all I got, guys. Thanks for checking out the show today. Keep on spinning. Peace.